your best game this summer? How did you assess the way that you played?
Just trying to forget about all the shots I missed, forget about all the games we lost. Just come out, play my game and try to do my best every time I come on the court. So
a lot of you guys have been hitting me up on Twitter and asking me to give my reaction to the fact that Bronny James has actually been performing really well in his last 2 Summer League games. And I want you guys to know, at my very core, I'm a Laker fan, and I want Bronny James to succeed. I want Bronny to be a multi-time All-Star. At the same time, I am a Laker fan that is used to such inept front office decisions, such as trading the role players that help us win a championship for Russell Westbrook, except for Montrezl Harrell, of course, or hiring Darvin Ham, or whatever the hell happened with our head coaching search this past offseason. So forgive me if I'm a little bit more pessimistic when it comes to my Lakers, but I'm really happy to be discussing how everything just changed for Bronny James. So before we get to the content, we are less than 20,000 subscribers away from getting to 1 million subscribers. If you guys want to check to see if you're subscribed to help us reach our goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Bronny James is playing out of his mind right now, and he is a future All-Star. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but he's improved significantly over the last 2 games. Almost every fan in the world was saying that Bronny doesn't deserve to be in the NBA. Yes, he might have been drafted because of his last name, but Bronny's doing everything he can to prove that he earned the right to play alongside his father. After a horrible first 2 games where Bronny averaged only 5 points per game and shot 21% from the field, which, bear in mind, this is just during his first 2 games, Bronny had a great all-around game in a victory versus the Atlanta Hawks, scoring 12 points on much better efficiency, snagging 5 rebounds and dishing 6 assists. He even made his first 3-pointer of the Summer League at the most perfect time. It was a huge clutch 3 at the end of the game to help secure the dub for the Dalton Connectless Lakers. Now look, I'm not trying to be like Skip Bayless here, but I genuinely believe that Bronny is better at addressing the media than his dad is. Look at what he said after the game.
Just trying to forget about all the shots I missed, forget about all the games we lost. Just come out, play my game and try to do my best every time I come on the court. So that's what I did tonight, and it ended up well.
How'd it feel to see that 3 go down?
Really good. Felt really good. Yeah.
Bronny's not focused on the media. He's not focused on poor performances. He's completely locked in on improving and proving to the world that he belongs in the NBA. And he had a really good game last night as well, scoring 13 points on 50% shooting. He had a couple of blocks, and finally I can admit that his defense lately has been impressive. He's also looked much more comfortable on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, look at the stuff he's pulling out right now. He's hitting step back threes in the clutch, and his confidence has absolutely grown over the last 2 games. But Bronny has done nothing but shut the haters up over the last couple of days, and has definitely proved some of the stuff I've said wrong. And if he can keep this up, then there should be no case for him not being NBA worthy, but there'll still be haters.
Bronny's in a bad spot because the scrutiny that's going to be heaped upon him is going to be immense.
Now, Stephen A puts it perfectly. Regardless of how good he does in the NBA, Bronny will always receive some sort of hate simply because he is LeBron James' son. I mean, it doesn't help that LeBron is tweeting that Bronny is, and I quote, better than some of these cats on League Pass. But I think Bronny would get hate just because of his name regardless. Just look at what happened with the Ball brothers, for example. Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo Ball were on top of the world in 2016, dominating as a part of arguably the greatest high school basketball team of all time. They were all insanely highly recruited talents and seemed to all be future NBA superstars. However, they were in a position to be hated from the get-go when their father, LeVar Ball, started talking so much trash online, saying some of the craziest things about his sons and shoving their names down fans' throats consistently. I mean, just listen to this take.
Lonzo had that same impact Magic had. Oh, God. I'm trying to tell you.
Now, personally, I found LeVar to be very entertaining, but stuff like this made most fans hate his sons before they even stepped foot on an NBA court. And that's exactly what's going on with Bronny right now. People everywhere are saying that nepotism is the only reason he got drafted. And to be honest, it played a huge part in it. I still am of the belief that if Bronny James entered the NBA as a prospect the way he is right now, he wouldn't be selected if it wasn't for his name. If he went back to USC and worked on his game, then maybe that could change, but it still plays a huge factor into Bronny getting drafted. But I wasn't alone in this thinking. I even mentioned in my previous video on this topic that even Jaylen Brown agreed that Bronny wouldn't make it into the NBA, telling his girlfriend Kyra Gondrezic that he doesn't think Bronny deserves to be where he's at, saying, "I don't think Bronny is a pro," before Kyra responded, "I think he'll be on a G League team for sure." And Jaylen said, "I hope so, but because of his name, he's going to be with the Lakers." Now here's what's so funny about this. Jaylen Brown was drafted 3rd overall, yet had much lower expectations than Bronny does, despite Bronny being taken 55th overall. Also, he had an even worse start to his NBA career than Bronny has.
Jaylen Brown. Do you know what they said about him in Summer League? He was the 3rd pick in the NBA draft. The 3rd pick in the NBA draft. The first 3 games, just like Bronny was 6 for 26. Jaylen Brown was 5 for 26 from the field in his first 3 games in Summer League. He's fine.
That's a good upside.
He's fine.
That's a good upside.
No one bashed him, and he was the 3rd pick in the NBA draft.
No.
Now, Summer League doesn't end up mattering very much, of course, and Jaylen Brown's Summer League career obviously didn't affect his NBA career, but it's something we should all take into account whenever we decide to analyze Bronny. Now, I think we all agree there's never been a player drafted 55th overall with this high of expectations. I mean, yes, he's the son of one of the 2 greatest players to ever touch a basketball, but it's not like he was drafted as some prodigy. Have you ever heard of Isaiah Wong? He was the 55th overall pick last year and had absolutely zero expectations going into the NBA. He played 4 minutes in his rookie season, and the type of hype for a late 2nd round pick is not normal. I mean, his play is being talked about more than this year's 2nd overall pick, Alexandre Sarr, and to be honest, I think that deserves its own video because I called it on draft night, and I'm gonna continue now. If Alexandre Sarr doesn't improve his game at all whatsoever, he might be a huge bust in the NBA. But it's also not the Washington Wizards' fault because it was a weak NBA draft. What could you do? But to give you an idea of how terrible Alexandre Sarr has been so far in the Summer League, he went 0 for 15 in his first Summer League game, and nobody's really talking about it because of Bronny, a player that was drafted 53 picks behind Sarr, who's also playing terribly, but not really as bad as Sarr has been playing either. This narrative's even worse after last night when Bronny had arguably his best game yet, and Alexandre Sarr still went 1 of 6 for a whopping 2 points. He has 20 rebounds over his first 2 games, but 1 of 21 is actually insane. Not just for a player that was being hyped up as a potential #1 overall pick a few months ago. So why isn't Sarr getting the same hate that Bronny is getting? I mean, I get why people are giving him leeway. Summer League games don't define a player's career. Look at Jaylen Brown. His career turned out okay. So why are we giving Bronny the same grace as we're giving Sarr? And the answer is quite simple. It's the fact that LeBron James has been preparing us for Bronny entering the NBA for years now. If you guys remember, 1 year ago around this time, we didn't think Bronny was going to get drafted at the end of the 2nd round. We thought he was going to be a lottery pick. Some people were even questioning if teams were going to tank in order to take Bronny, especially because that meant that LeBron would come with Bronny. And then of course there's multiple times where LeBron James has said,
I want him to get to the NBA. I want to be on the sand. I want to be on the court with him. I think that'll be an unbelievable moment.
Who do you want to play with?
Bronny is #1 on my list.
That's dope.
He's #1 on my list that I want to play with.
But look, man, let's talk about improvement. I mean, the kid has talent, and don't let anybody convince you otherwise. Now let's start with this layup against the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, it's a tough finish, but he gets it to go. Alpha Coaching has been one of my new favorite YouTube channels, and he's done a wonderful job explaining how Bronny has improved significantly in his game versus the Atlanta Hawks.
Look at him get in the gaps right here. Left foot parallel to the block, back to the baseline in a defensive stance. There's no driving lane playing here. We're going to be able to stunt, recover, and then when he stunts right here, look at this, we end up getting a deflection and a turnover.
Not a lot of players come into the league with the basketball IQ to use not only their body, but their brains the way Bronny does. He is slightly undersized, but he does have all the physical tools to be an elite athlete, and he uses his athleticism to his advantage by being among the smarter players in this class. I know I keep bringing up this clip, but the fact that JJ Redick continues to hype Bronny up this much means that he has to be maybe somewhat good. Maybe he was right?
Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this through hard work.
I'm sorry, that clip still doesn't sit right with me. I just think it's hilarious hearing JJ say it. But now I'm convinced that Bronny does have the talent to make it to the league, and he has the work ethic to stay there. At the end of the day, Bronny is improving tremendously. I mean, if you go back to the beginning of Summer League in his very first game, he scored 4 points off of 2 of 9 shooting versus the Sacramento Kings. On July 10th, he scored 3 points off of 1 of 3 shooting versus the Miami Heat. In his showdown versus Reed Shepherd, he went 3 of 14 from the field for 8 points and 0 of 8 from 3. And in my opinion, his outing versus the Celtics was probably the most embarrassing of all. But he started to turn things around versus the Atlanta Hawks on July 17th, scoring 12 points off of 5 of 11 shooting and 2 of 5 from 3, while also just making intelligent basketball decisions. And he proved that wasn't a fluke versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, shooting 50% from the field and going 1 of 3 on threes for 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, I'm not here to say that Bronny James is a certified superstar or an all-star or even a player that is going to get meaningful NBA minutes at this point. But what I will say is I finally see a light at the end of the tunnel for this kid, because originally he was making basketball decisions that were so asinine in the Summer League that I really didn't think he had any role in the NBA or any business even being on the Summer League court. But after seeing him work on his mistakes over the past couple of games and at least seeing his ability to make tweaks to his game, I mean, him making backdoor cuts when it's necessary in of itself is a huge development. Him properly using screens and playing proper help defense and being more educated with when and where he gambles is a huge step as well. At the same time, it's only Summer League, but we've heard Bronny James say that he doesn't mind playing in the G League, which is probably where he's going to spend a majority of his time, by the way. But at the end of the day, I think Bronny has the potential to play meaningful minutes in the NBA. If he continues on this trajectory, and if the Lakers do have this crazy master plan for him and his development like they claim they do, plus the fact that his father is arguably the greatest player of all time definitely helps with that. But who knows, Bronny still has one more game of the Summer League on Saturday, and for all you know, he could go straight back to being ass after this video's uploaded. But regardless, I'm looking forward to covering this young man's career in the NBA, and he certainly gave us something to talk about during the Summer League. Let me know in the comment section down below, has your opinion shifted on Bronny at all whatsoever? But aside from that, Russell Westbrook just got traded from the Los Angeles Clippers. His final chapter is here. He's trying to latch on with a championship contender, but could we expect that much of a difference for him in this final stretch of his career? I made a whole video on that and I uploaded it yesterday. I'll leave it on your screen in front of you and I'll meet you guys there. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.